Great. Thank you all for being here today. It's been a busy month. First of all, I want to recognize that it is Pride Month, so just recognizing all the members of the community that are LGBTQ plus, and just stating our solidarity with those members. We had Judge Simon presentation or federal court hearing earlier this month. I testified at it. Lakeisha was also there. It was a very good meeting. Got to hear from a lot of community members, some of the powers and people within the settlement agreement. The judge deferred a final approval of PCCEP till February of 2020, based on the fact that we are doing really good work, but he wants to see continued success, particularly around the community engagement and just allowing us to get on our feet, which I honestly feel is a fair assessment of where PCCEP's at. I think we're in a really good position as far as what we've been able to accomplish in the last 6 months, considering the huge amount on our plate, but I think there is still more for us to prove and get the wheels clicking on a few other things. So overall, we're very pleased with that decision and look forward to meeting those goals in the next coming months. Also want to recognize Andrew. He became a father for a second time, so I just want to say congratulations to him. Had a baby girl. And also another development in PCCEP is that we now have a project director, Theodore Lada, who's going to be joining us. He's somewhere around here. Really excited to have him on board. Oh, he's getting food, so really appreciate him now. Brings a perspective and background that's much needed to our organization, specializes in data and things of that nature. So we're really looking forward to having that piece, which is another, I think my microphone's on, another just overall recognition that was part of the discussion at the court hearing was just that PCCEP has been working. I think my microphone's out. PCCEP has been working. PCCEP has been working, missing a couple key components. We have an interim director with Judith that's been very supportive, and Claudia has been doing her role, but we've been, doing a lot of this work under not full staffing. And if this is as far as we can get with it, just imagine what we'll be doing with our full team on board. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our subcommittees to give their reports. We were supposed to make a recommendation for our seat that was vacated by Bob. And I'm going to get to your question in just a second, but just to clarify that, there's been just some confusion over all of that process. So 2 of our previous members that were just appointed, Marcia and Vadim, were directly appointed by the mayor. Traditionally, how we would like to do that is for PCCEP to give a recommendation and to the mayor, and then he make that decision. That decision was made just because both of those seats were vacated quickly and they needed to replace somebody. But now we're going back to that process of having PCCEP select that member. Those members were not able to attend tonight. We didn't have enough time to get a notice out, so we're going to invite them to the steering committee meeting and then make that decision from there. We have some bios that were given to us that give us a little background, so we're able to kind of see some of the pieces that we're missing and where we want to fill that out. And I know there was a question over here.
Actually, I just wanted to make a comment. We were thanking everybody, and I think it's really important to thank Judith Mowry because she's been doing this through broken body parts, and it's really important to recognize that she has put forth a huge amount of effort.
Thank you for that recognition. Absolutely. So I don't know if there's any PCCEP thoughts, and I know we were having a little discussion pre-start of this just on that alternate spot and how that was going to work. Is there any questions on that from PCCEP?
So the steering committee is going to make the final determination, or are you going to bring it?
It's not just the steering committee. That's the meeting they're being invited to. But anybody who can make that meeting would be encouraged to come to hear from them.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to go into our subcommittee reports. I'm going to turn it over to Lakeisha. Do you want to give the steering committee just report back on what we focused on in that meeting?
Oh.
And or Andrew.
I was the only one there. No.
Oh, that's right. You were.
So we had an in-depth discussion about recommendations, what was going on in the community. It really wasn't formal. It was more just letting the community state their concerns, and we just talked and were relational. So that's what happened. And I advised everybody to bring their recommendations to this meeting.
Great, thank you. Oh, yeah. You had to say? Okay. Yeah, and just further comment on the recommendations. That's still a process that we're working out. I know at our last meeting we had some discussion about how to make those recommendations. Sam presented some to us, and it's still that was like a really good test ground to see like what we need to do to get those out. And I know that there's been some community feedback, and they've been giving us some recommendations too. So just bear with us as we work out that process and try and streamline that and really make it accessible to both community and our members as a whole. So we'll be looking more at that. I want to turn it over to Patrick for the mental health. These are combined together in here. The mental health subcommittee. Just any report back on that.
We have a recommendation we're working on. We scheduled our meeting tomorrow night instead of night before tonight on accident.
Okay,
we would have
fine.
had it tonight, but it's going to be available for next meeting.
Okay.
We are continuing to add people to our subcommittee, and we feel like we're doing pretty good.
I think you guys are doing excellent. I think it's a model for the rest of our subcommittee. So we look forward to kind of building off that success and looking to strengthen the rest of them. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Britt and Yolanda for the youth subcommittee. Sorry, I just jumped one, but we'll just go with youth. Are you guys
Sure, I'll get us going here. So one thing we continue to work on, but that we've actually started to make progress on, is staffing our subcommittee, much like Patrick was just talking about with his subcommittee. And so we've gotten 3 new people to be part of our regular subcommittee meetings, and a few of them are actually very involved, as much as they're even going to some of our other meetings with the Portland Police Bureau and emailing afterwards and just really being part of the work we're doing. So that's really exciting for us. And we're going to continue to make sure that model attracts other people to actually sit on our subcommittee. One of the youth members even wants to apply to be a full PCCEP member, and we'll make sure that they at least apply so we can have more people in our alternate pool.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sorry. And then in addition to that, we had a meeting with Portland Police Youth Services Division on June 11th. And I was really thankful that Kimberly, our new member, was able to attend. She works for Kaiser and has a background of working, she's a civilian but working with law enforcement, so she has a really good perspective as well. And one of the things that me and Brett were able to do is listen to some youth perspectives from the community, and a lot of it's already been covered in previous meetings here, but I'll just kind of reiterate because I want you guys to know that we are taking the time to listen. But the youth kind of said, basically, there's still, a negative perception with police, lack of positive interaction, and lack of positive interaction opportunities, and there's a lack of education regarding how to interact with law enforcement. And then one of our members, Marcia, who's not here, she was also part of that meeting, and so she was going to reach out to Officer Natasha Hansberger to obtain a comprehensive list of projects and events that youth services are doing, but we don't have that information yet. Thank you.
Yeah, can you guys just speak to a little bit about like maybe some of your future goals and what you're hoping to work on with this subcommittee?
You want to start? So one thing that we're continuing that we mentioned last time, I think I mentioned last time during this report share out time, was this survey that we're going to implement across kind of school-wide in the fall once school resumes. And so that would actually be, after we meet with the Portland Police Bureau, we're going to be able to put some of these policies in front of students and see what they say, see if what students think is in line with what the Portland Police Bureau is seeing, just to kind of put a check on them officially. And then also, if it's not in line with what students are wanting, to give them a time to express themselves and give us an understanding of how we can create some recommendations that would fix some of that. So that's something that we're starting to design and coming out of our initial meetings with the Portland Police Bureau. Definitely continuing staffing is a goal. And then I think maybe Yolanda can speak more to this, but we are going to try to put together some sort of recommendation around the community engagement plan at our next meeting or the one after that.
To kind of elaborate what Britt talked about, was we're getting mixed information. So the youth of color that we've had at this meetings and then that we've talked to said that they're not, happy with Portland Police in their high school. But talking to Portland police officers of color, their feeling is that, when you ask the youth more specifically pointing out police in school, their reactions are, well, they're not really a police officer, or they didn't know they were a police officer, because those, some of the Portland police officers are coaches. That was a good example that Captain Leisure talked about, was that the high school's students' perception of the officers of color who are really active in the high school, they have a positive perception, but it's the officers that don't work. So we're kind of getting mixed information. So me and Kimberly are doing more research. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over now to Sam for the Race and Ethnicity and Other Subcommittee.
Thank you. So the last meeting I brought 4 recommendations forward, and we had some really good feedback from the members. So I've gone to work and reached out to Natasha Huntsberger and to answer the questions, and I'm still waiting to hear back from her and Antoinette Edwards. The body cam issue is still what it is. I'm not sure what I think the city's moving forward with the body cam issue, so I think that's something we'll have to discuss at a different time. But my goal is to, a couple things. I think we need to change the date, or the Tuesday, because that doesn't work for La Chiana. We need to get more members from PCCEP on the race and ethnicity, because we've had a few people resign and quit or not be there. So right now I'm kind of the committee and the chair, and so we need more involvement. My hope is to get community members to be involved and serve on the committee moving forward, and to actually have the meetings, at NEA, ERCO, other places, neighborhood associations in the community. And I can't remember, but I thought some of the youth service stuff that when Natasha presented was in that community engagement piece. I could be wrong.
I'm not sure.
But
I'll look.
Anyways, there's a lot of things happening around community engagement with that office and Natasha. So those are my goals going forward, is to tighten up the recommendations, bring them forward again, to set a different time and place for the meeting, to get probably 5 community members to serve on the committee, and to be meeting in the community, have the meetings in the community. So that is all I have to report today. And the other thing I was going to touch on was, and Lakiana and I discussed it, I think it's good practice moving forward that if we have somebody send out recommendations or policies that we're going to decide on, to have a response from members on via email, so that we're not caught off guard, or so we can touch base on all those things prior to bringing it forward. I appreciate all the questions, but that we had, but it'd be good to have all that stuff prior to bring it forward. So, and if you want to serve on the Race and Ethnicity Committee, please let me know. I'm just holding down the committee right now, but it's an important part of what we're doing, and we need to have more community involvement and PCCEP members. So that's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe that's something we can discuss at the next steering committee, is how do we support some of these up and coming ones, because it's a challenge trying to get all of them off the ground. But definitely necessary work, especially, and we'll get into it more later when you're looking at the Dhm survey and just some of the results that came out in there. That work is important. I was gonna say something else. Oh, just saying that I could have just mentioned in the beginning. A couple of us met today with Daryl Turner of PPA, the Police Association. I want to thank him for that meeting, and that's just another step in us engaging all of the various community partners and people who have stakes within our the work that we're doing. So we look forward to doing more work with them and engaging them in the process as we move forward. We're going to go over to our quarterly report. It's in a draft format, so we're actually not going to do much about it today, but I can have...
Settlement Agreement Committee.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Similarly to Sam, looking for more members for the Settlement Agreement and Policy Subcommittee. Dhm, one of our incoming members, has expressed interest, and he will hopefully join me. But like with Sam, it's sort of a band of one, at least among us at the table. We've had good engagement from several folks, several people I see out here today, which I very much appreciate. A couple of things to report from that meeting this month. The bulk of our time was spent talking about the community engagement plan and what recommendations, if any, the Settlement Agreement and Policy Subcommittee could bring on that. I circulated 3 to the PCCEP a few weeks back, and we will discuss those later tonight, and everybody can chime in. I look forward to hearing folks' comments on that. We also talked about the annual report. As you might remember, in December, we gave comments and suggestions to the Police Bureau about the 2017 annual report, which was coming out at the end of 2018. One of our recommendations was come out with this report sooner, and much to our delight, the draft version has come out sooner. It's June. That's pretty good. And so we as a committee, as a subcommittee, and also as a larger committee will be reviewing that draft annual report, this annual report covering calendar year 2018, and we'll have additional recommendations to the extent that there are any to give for next month's full board meeting. An additional recommendation that we gave back in December was to make sure that the report included not just the highlights of the year, but also some of the challenges, some of the things that didn't go so well. And again, as you all take a look at the draft report, I think you'll see that they've taken that into account as well, which again is something that we really appreciate. It's one thing to give recommendations; it's another thing to have them actually be seen and internalized and acted on. So thank you for that. And the last, we talked about a number of different issues, but the last one I'll mention tonight was that there was several questions about the just general claims process that the city has when there's an accusation of wrongdoing. This is not something that we have dug into very much, but it's a subject that people have a lot of questions about and might be interested in hearing more about. So if you are one of those people who is interested in hearing more about how that process actually works, feel free to come up to me anytime during this meeting, and we'll see if we can schedule during one of our subcommittee meetings just to sort of learn more about the process, not to recommend anything necessarily, but simply to learn more about how it works and be able to ask questions of the appropriate folks. So thanks.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Sorry for missing you on that part.
Real quick, for the community engagement plan, we have a deadline. They really want us to get recommendations today for the community engagement plan. Not all the other ones, but the community engagement plan specifically. So I was trying to chunk out majority of the time to go over that and get those recommendations.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll actually be able to get to that. As I was mentioning a little earlier, quarterly report's still being drafted, so we're going to move that to the July meeting. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that, Andrew, but...
No, I thought it would be easier to cradle a child and type with one hand than it actually is. So I apologize for the delay. We'll get to it at the steering committee in a couple weeks, and then for the full board for approval next month.
Right. Okay. So we will move up our agenda and move into the community engagement review and recommendations, as Lakeisha had mentioned, they are due, and so we wanted to look over those. We had a number that were already drafted, so I think we should start with those, and then if there's anything else in there, we can add to that, and then also take public comment on it as well. Why don't we start by just going through the three that we have? I think it's three, yeah, and then go from there.
Very good. Happy to talk about these. I think it's important to note these are coming from the Settlement Agreement and Policy Subcommittee, and there are many additional recommendations that I imagine could come from other committees focusing on different aspects of the community engagement plan. Obviously, when you look at these, you'll see that there's at least from our perspective a policy nexus here, which is why they're coming from us. So I'll go through all three, and then maybe we can discuss individually and collectively what we think of the three. The first I've titled Demystifying PPB Policy for the Community. So as some of you know, much of Portland Police Bureau's policy is laid out in a series of directives. These directives are detailed by necessity, and as a result they are somewhat dense. And as a lawyer I say that word with great pride. However, they're also difficult to access as a result for many people who maybe don't have legal training or who simply don't have the time to read through individual directives that often number in the dozens of pages. So what's recommended here is that the Bureau take a series of steps to demystify policy, their policy directives for the public. That doesn't mean getting rid of their existing policy directives. I think the detail is important. But some ideas that we had about that were publishing executive summaries of all Police Bureau policies, 1 or 2 page summaries that people could look at and just get a sense for the key components of the policy. Explanatory videos, preferably in multiple languages, that show the public how police policies work in practice. The Oregon State Bar has done an exemplary job, I think, of this, an award-winning job of this in terms of producing videos that are accessible to the lay public and in a variety of languages on a wide variety of subjects. So they could look there for inspiration as well. So that was recommendation number one. The second recommendation is a revision to the mission statement of the community engagement
Mission statement?
Yeah, the community engagement effort. The mission statement currently reads as follows: to build and strengthen meaningful relationships between community members and the Police Bureau, enabling us to work together to address specific issues affecting safety and quality of life in our communities. We thought it might be a good idea to add one additional clause at the end, which could read as follows: and to provide an opportunity for the community to give and for the Bureau to respond to feedback on public safety issues affecting their neighborhoods. The idea behind this recommendation is to make sure that the public understands that community engagement, from the Bureau's perspective, is designed to be a two-way street. In other words, it's not the Bureau coming to the community to talk at the community, but rather the Bureau engaging in every way that it can to have meaningful conversations and to learn from the community and respond to the community. We are not wedded to this particular language, but the idea of sort of centering this type of sort of cross-pollination communication is the idea behind this recommendation. The last one, number 3, is I think the meatiest of the 3. This stems from some of the chief's comments in response to a question from the PCCEP at our March meeting, as well as recent survey results, which showed that at least some in the community and some officers feel that an acknowledgement of the history of racism in Portland is a necessary first step to improving trust. So with that sort of survey understanding in mind, what we have recommended here is that the community engagement unit formally create a working group to explore a Truth and Reconciliation Commission model. There's a number of efforts in the United States, small but notable, that have shown encouraging signs with this model. Obviously, South Africa is the sort of famous example of where this has been used, and one that the chief herself mentioned in March. But the goal of this would be to develop a plan to implement this type of Truth and Reconciliation Commission within a 3-year span. Again, this idea is informed by that survey results showing that people think that there's a need for acknowledgement and grappling with the past if we're going to sort of build a foundation for the future. So that is recommendation number 3. Happy to hear from any of my colleagues about these 3.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I find all 3 very interesting. I think that I would recommend all 3 for sure. And I just wanted to mention that the Subcommittee on People with Mental Illness actually spoke last month and across emails about a Truth and Reconciliation Commission of a similar idea.
Great.
Yeah, I think they look good. I might just change the word demystifying to just summarizing. I found just help clarify what you actually meant by that, but otherwise they look good. Well, go ahead.
You didn't say concrete when you were reading it back. Did you take that out?
Can you put the microphone up?
You didn't say concrete when you were reading it back. Did you take that out later?
Sometimes the best thing you can do to edit a document is to read it out loud and realize that there are superfluous words. So
Okay.
yes, I think concrete can be eliminated.
And Sam, I know you were mentioning the Truth and Reconciliation Commission model earlier too. Is
Yeah.
that what you were referring to?
Yes, yeah, that I mentioned earlier. Andrew, can I read something to you?
Of course.
So when I was the chair of the Community Police Relations Committee, the mission, I just want to read the mission to you and see if it's kind of along the same line, but to see if there's any wording that might wordsmith. To bring together members of Portland's diverse communities and its police officers to improve community and police relations, further an authentic community policing culture, and promote dignity, understanding, and respect in police and community interactions.
Where'd that come from?
That was the mission statement for the Community Police Relations Committee, which was a subcommittee for the Human Rights Commission that I chaired. I had 5 members of the Human Rights Commission, 5 community members, and 5 police officers, and dealt with tracking stops data, among other issues. So I'll send that to you.
Great.
So, but I think all 3 of these are great. I support all 3. And if you want to add anything to it, I just want to share that with you.
Excellent, thanks. One question for the whole group, but also you can answer it first, Sam, if you want. Number 2, the revisions to the mission statement, I sort of drafted here like, we think you should acknowledge this component. We think this component of engagement is not acknowledged by the mission statement. Do you think we should explicitly sort of lay out exactly what we think the mission statement should say, or is it enough for the recommendation to say it should say something about a 2-way communication? Here's an idea. Anybody have thoughts on that?
I think it's good to be specific. Otherwise, it'll take much longer for them to ever approve something and just spin their wheels. Nothing may ever happen. So I think it's good to be specific, even if we want to change the statement as it is.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah. Revision of mission statement. I read the draft document earlier today, and I felt conflicted that there didn't seem to be any in-depth acknowledgement of a past. That maybe that there were mistakes made, and I'm not sure where exactly that would be put into this. I like all 3, and I'm not wanting to add specifically to any one, but the revision of mission statement kind of and the Truth and Reconciliation thing kind of reminded me of the fact that, at least in my reading of the document, there wasn't a lot of, hey, we recognize that what's happened is
Stuff is if you go off topic, like I am right now, I guess, and I gotta say you guys act more democratic and stuff than Ted Wheeler, because if you go off topic for 2 seconds with Ted Wheeler, he's calling G4S security mercenary goons to come beat your ass and bloody you and issue false charges against you. Jeff Black just got out of jail for being excluded from City Hall. He was charged with obstruction of government because he went into City Hall and they didn't like what he was saying, so they shut down City Hall. And even in the beginning part of the City Hall announcement, they say that if you don't leave, that you will be charged with trespassing. Instead, Ted Wheeler has ramped it up to obstruction of government. So now, under the Ted Wheeler regime, you get charged with obstruction of government if you go to City Hall and speak against Ted and his little regime and the blue supremacist police force and all the other stuff. And, you know, so, and we also have a problem here with stuff like Matt Hennessy, who's a child rapist, pastor who works with Sam Sachs over there, and also, you know, hangs out with the governor, the police commissioner.
You have 30 seconds
admitted
left.
to child rape in emails, yet you have him doing things about public safety with the Portland police, like he did over at Holiday Park a week or so ago with the community barbecue, where he had a community safety plan. And this is a dangerous predator who's working with at-risk youth, who's admitted to raping a child hundreds of times.
Okay, we're at the time limit.
This is who Ted Wheeler appoints to talk about public safety.
Thank you for your comments. We are at the time limit now for each
Police are
person.
totally aware of this because Matt Hennessy's name.
Thank you. We're at time.
Patriot Prayer Tech.
Excuse me.
We're at time.
I have a
That's
question.
an
Can I ask a question?
We're at time.
Sure, ask a question. I'd love to answer a question. I love community engagement.
Okay. I would like to know if you would like to be treated with respect by us.
Yeah, but
Okay, then
I don't expect
can you treat us with respect then? Thank you.
I'll treat certain members with respect if I view them as respectful people.
Okay, we're at our time limit, so we are going to move on to any other comments on the community engagement plan. Okay, we're past your time limit.
Can you cut the mic?
Any other comments on the community engagement?
You're actually one of the few members up there that I do respect.
Okay, so
Actually, be a little critical here and there.
we're going to move on to the next piece.
Mainly just pro-cop, Orwell.
Philip, do you have a comment?
Like talking about all this. This is just a big colossal waste of money because police aren't in compliance and will never be in compliance. But that's cool.
Hello, my name is Philip. I'm still Philip, still here, haha. Okay, I'll get that thing out of the way. All right. There was one PCCEP member who mentioned discussing the recommendations via email, and I'm concerned, is that discussion considered deliberation? If you're deliberating over email, it's a matter of public record, and so I just wanted to clarify that comment and talk about what that discussion might look like. It's important to have public transparency, so I just had a question about that. Can anyone comment on that?
Just ask the question one more time. It was about whether we were discussing the recommendations via email? Yeah, no, we haven't been. What I believe is what. Yeah, no, and it's not. What I was just mentioning was that we had received a number of recommendations via email, and that we're trying to streamline a process to bring those in and be able to discuss them at our various meetings so that people can make recommendations. Like if you're not in a meeting publicly and you give us a recommendation, how do we get that to our committees?
I think he's referring to what Sam said about doing it via email before we come here, deliberating.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe it was to Sam's comment as well, but no, there's no deliberation over email of our any of those comments. We're at 6:15 right now. Okay. You want to take the break? Cool. We'll take. Oh yeah, that's right. So we need to take a vote on these recommendations. It sounds like everybody was in agreement of them. So let me clarify this too, by the way. Okay, yeah, we do have a quorum of members. I just wanted to note that Steve and Vadim are not voting members yet because they have not completed their trainings.
Steve has.
You did? Okay, so Steve is, and so just a clarification on when we're getting these new members on. So all those in favor of passing these 3 recommendations, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay. Recommendations passed by a majority decision. We are going to take a 15-minute break, so we'll be back here at 6:30 to move into our Dhm survey review, followed by a open commentary from community members on any of those issues that they would like to speak on. Thank you. foods. Just want to give everybody a chance to do that, and I just do want to give a shout out to Flaming Hibachi PDX. I believe they're the ones who bring the food, and food does bring the community together. And I was just observing that everybody was smiling and happy, so I'm glad that we had a chance to break bread and replenish ourselves.
Lucky Anna, could I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
Kind of regard Claudia. I just, as Theo transitions to the program manager, I just want to acknowledge the amazing, wonderful work that Claudia has done. The food tonight, as she organizes the food and the space and keeps everyone together. And so as we move forward and they transition, I just want to thank you, Claudia, for the amazing work that you've done to get us to where we're at today. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Sam. So next on the agenda was the Dhm survey. They were supposed to come present the survey results to us and lead that discussion. And since they're not, and seeing as how it's not a something that's due in the next week or so, we are going to move that to our July meeting. Was there a question on there? No? Okay. So. Oh, no.
On the survey results.
We're still going to take comment on the survey results? Okay, well, we'll do this. So what we were planning on doing is that we're going to have open it up to general discussion, town hall style kind of format to allow the community, and there's a suggestion on that, to just discuss with us and bring some feedback to us or just their concerns. So you can talk about the Dhm survey. You can also talk about any other concerns. The only thing we just say is that, just be mindful that other people will want to speak after you. And we do have, children in the room, so please make sure that your commentary is appropriate for all audiences and people that could be listening online. With that being said, we will open it up to whoever wants to take the first swing.
And I would also just add that many people have mentioned the fact that they can't always come to subcommittee meetings, so if you have suggestions for the subcommittee chairs, we would also love to hear those today.
Great suggestion, Britt. Go ahead.
Again, still Philip. I just have a few things that I'd like to discuss. The first would be the 10 recommendations that I proposed 2 months ago. I proposed those to the steering committee, and they were discussed, and it was discussed that they would be brought to the next month full PCCEP meeting. Sam also made 4 recommendations, and those were discussed and voted on. All 4 of those recommendations did not pass, but those were discussed. So I'm wondering when the community will have an opportunity to make recommendations and when those will get discussed and voted on. Tonight, I was really excited to come. I was looking forward to talking more about those recommendations that were from myself and other community members, but I did not see those on the agenda, and I didn't see them actually printed out. So I don't know how the community can see that those recommendations were made. I don't know how we can have an opportunity to discuss those. So I am a little bit disappointed about that. So those 10 recommendations are now being pushed off, and I just was wondering about the status of those. I do have another comment I would like to say. It's my understanding that there might not be a lack of protocol. You discussed that there is a lack of protocol for those recommendations, and I was hoping to see a protocol ready and established so that someone can make a recommendation, but now we are stuck in this nebulous process of figuring out how to provide recommendations. So I really think it is time to get to work and establish a set protocol now before we move forward, because if we continue to delay the process, it's kind of going to cause more stress, more frustration, and from my experience as former COAB chair, I strongly encourage you to create an avenue to continue that work. I also am concerned about some of the subcommittees. I would love, in a perfect world, I would love it if each subcommittee would provide at least one recommendation and maybe discuss their concerns about the report, talk about meetings, whether they had a meeting with the Bureau or another expert out in the field, what they're doing in regards to community engagement. I would like to see more content in the reports. I think that would make for a more productive meeting. Thus far, I've seen committee members not show up, a few people not show up. I know that one subcommittee, there was just one member there. So I just really want to push us to continue supporting those subcommittees. And anything you need to help make this more productive, please let me know, and that's what I wanted to say. But I would like my comment about the 10 recommendations addressed, and I have other recommendations I would like to make tonight if you're willing to hear those.
Say that last part one more time. Something about make those?
Just the last part I said, I have a new recommendation that I would like to make and that I just thought of, and if you're interested in hearing that, please let me know.
Great. Sounds like Andrew's got a response for you.
Yeah, I'm going to take them in reverse order, and I appreciate the comments, Philip. First, on the subcommittee reports, I think each of us tries to summarize what the subcommittee did, in that month's meeting. It's not a full review of every single thing the subcommittee did in that month. We're trying to sort of highlight the highlights. I know every one of us has relationships with either community members or institutions or organizations. And we try to maintain open dialogue with those groups, not only to let them know that PCCEP exists and that we want and need their help to do this work, but to try to build those relationships over time so that looking long term, this is a body that can actually get input it needs from all corners of the community in order to do its work. So that's an ongoing process, and it's something I think folks up here take seriously. We'll try to think about ways to sort of report out about that in a more efficient way, because I certainly think you're right. It's an important component of our work. Second, I appreciate you raising the public recommendation process, because I do think you're right that we need to be at least a little bit clearer in sort of what that process is and how it works. I think our thinking the last time we discussed this was that the subcommittees are the best set up to handle incoming recommendations from members of the community, sort of give them an initial airing in those subcommittees, and then the subcommittee can decide whether or not it wants to bring a recommendation to the full committee for a vote. That means necessarily that not every single recommendation that is brought to a subcommittee will come before the full board for a vote, but there should always be at least an opportunity for an airing and a discussion. And so I'm curious to hear what my fellow members think about that process. But I do think that that's something that can happen at the subcommittee level. So thanks.
Yeah, 100% agree. I know I've said this a couple of times. I was going to draft a template for putting together a recommendation. We learned a lot last month when Sam presented his, because that was the first ones that weren't like technical things about language, but it was actually like a policy recommendation. And I know it didn't feel 100% comfortable being up there taking all that feedback, but it was really helpful to us to see how the process worked, and that we need some more structures around that so when people do bring those up, that they are fully vetted. And so that same process needs to be available for community members, so that they don't just get sent to us and just end up nowhere. I think they should be processed through the subcommittees like we had, Andrew had mentioned, but we just got to work on that a little bit. So if you give us a little bit more time, we'll do that. And I just wanted to also speak to just the subcommittees in general too. We've had a number of turnover and trying to get everybody, on our board and ready to participate. So that's, I would say, just a little bit of why some of these subcommittees haven't been able to fully get off the ground. And we appreciate your patience in that. But we also know that we do got to get these things done. We hear that, and we want to make that happen. So thank you.
And one last thing I forgot to mention. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate those. I don't question anyone's interest or commitment to the work at hand, but I do want you to realize that the public is watching, and the public needs your help. The community needs to be empowered in how to engage in police and community relationships. And without a formal process, people will give up. And without a formal process, things will fall apart. And I slowly start to see that crumbling happening at this current juncture. So I did just want to encourage us to bolster our efforts and continue moving forward. I had another question, but I will let somebody else speak because it slipped my mind. And if it comes back, I will comment later.
Thanks for sharing the mic.
You know you want to talk, Dan. Come on.
I waited, Patrick. All right, so Dan Handelman again with Portland Cop Watch. And I've got a number of things. One of them relates back to your subcommittees. Well, my understanding is that there was one subcommittee where nobody showed up except for the public. Maybe I'm being misinformed, but there was a chair that didn't even attend their own meeting. That means 3 out of the 4 subcommittees only had either 1 or 0 people from your committee at it. I would suggest, at the very least tonight, finding the new people at the table, making sure they're plugged in, but that all the other alternates who you're going to be meeting at the steering committee meeting should be plugged in, and regardless of whether they're sitting at this table or not, they should be part of those subcommittees so they're ready to go and hit the ground running as soon as they're moved up. The youth subcommittee talked a little bit about the officers in the schools, and I know there's young people who are working on keeping them out of the school. I'm not sure if you're in touch with the movement that's actually the ones that helped get the school board to reverse their decision to ask the city for money for that. I'm hoping that you are in touch with them. I think that's very exciting that the young people are standing up for their own rights. I was having this discussion with Mr. Mazurski during the break that I really appreciate it if we use people's titles, because otherwise it makes it seem like, first of all, that there's too much familiarity between you and the powers that be, and another is that we might not know who you're talking about. So when we're talking about an officer, police officer, we should say the officer in their last name or their rank in their last name, and not by their first name, because then we don't realize that you're talking about somebody who's with the police. So that's just something that we try to practice. And the discussion about the truth and reconciliation, you talked a little bit about how the police need to make up for the past. They need to make up for the past and the present. Because presently, we're now in the 9th month since September when Patrick Timmons was killed, and there have been 9 deadly force incidents. We have not seen this level of police use of deadly force since the 1990s. I do not know what's going on. We had a discussion with the chief about this. She said there's something going on out in the community that's leading to all this, and she's blaming the so-called hostage situations. But that doesn't mean they have to be resolved by the police the same way over and over and over again with shooting or grinding a person into the ground. And I know how many of you saw the video, the body camera video of Richard Berry on Thanksgiving last year being smashed into the ground by a Portland police officer after the Portland State University police called them in. But it's very horrifying. It looks a lot like when James Chassie died. And I really believe that the Portland police caused that man's death, even though the coroner said it was an accident because of the drugs he took. The process that you want to do, I'm not saying you should use it, but the COAB had their own process for how to take a recommendation, either from the public or from a subcommittee, and bring it to the whole group. There are parts of that that were a little problematic because I think they were being a little too, they were trying to control the COAB a little bit too much by telling them it had to refer to a specific this or that. But I think that you can use that as a template to get started from. It would be helpful, too, in terms of your membership and the public's understanding of what's going on, is you can list who are excused absences at the beginning of the meeting, because then we're not sitting here waiting for the people to fill the seats or wondering if they're have resigned or whatever. And my understanding is the only empty seat right now is the one that was vacated by Mr. Dye. Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Chair Drury spoke at the Judge Simon hearing, and I spoke to you afterwards. I was very pleased. The city was trying to say the judge had to approve the settlement agreement so that you all could do your work, because otherwise you're in this limbo and it's just paralyzing you. And I think Mr. Drury spoke. I hope he's speaking for all of you, but he said that's not a problem for me or for the people that I know on this group. And I thought it was really wonderful to hear the actual people who are involved speak the truth to the judge, because the city, I think you are able to do what you're doing, and you should continue doing what you're doing. And hopefully, if the judge sees that work coming to fruition, that he will approve it. The specific comment he made was, I approved the COAB last time, and look how that ended up. So I'd just like to see to make sure this group is working okay before I put my reputation on the line and say that the structure is going to work. And it's not on you as individuals; it's on the structure. And we try to look at the institutional analysis at Portland Cop Watch. The Citizen Review Committee, I think I mentioned at your last meeting that the first time in 18 years there was a hearing at City Council where they found misconduct. Maybe I didn't mention it because it wasn't relevant to the discussion. This is the first time in 18 years they found an officer was guilty of misconduct. It was a case of retaliation. This was a tremendous victory. We've been following this civilian oversight system since we were created a long time ago. Mr. Mazurski is a member of the CRC. You talked a little bit about wanting to know more about how people file complaints. I think you should tap into him as a resource, and certainly we're happy to also talk about our long history with the oversight system. If anybody didn't get the Cop Watch newsletter from the May issue last month, I do not have them with me tonight, but we have it up online, and you can check that out now at portlandcopwatch.org. If you have any other follow-up questions or comments, thank you. I appreciate you having this town hall. Thank you. Oh, hey, one more thought. How was it? DHM might come at 7:45 because that's what time it says on the agenda.
I think they called out.
Yeah, they're ill. They called in ill.
Thank you for those comments. Was there anything anybody wanted to respond to on those? Yeah, I did like the comment about getting some of these these alternates on the subcommittee. I think that's a good idea to try and if folks are interested in I want to be on PCCEP, then I think that them being involved in some of these other subcommittees would be good. So I think we should find a way to contact them and see if they want to help strengthen some of the groups that we already have. I think that'd be a good idea. Other public comment on PCCEP related matters? We'll go with Ms. Harris.
So my name is Joyce Harris, and I'm on the Albina Ministerial Alliance Coalition for Justice and Police Reform Steering Committee. And one of the reasons why I'm here tonight is because when we had the status hearing before Judge Simon, I was very touched by the presentation by the PCCEP leadership, because over the years I've been involved with a lot of these types of things. It takes your time, it takes your energy, and you have to be committed. And I understand that people want to see this move forward fast, but I think we all need to understand that these folks sitting up here giving up their time, and we need to try to support them in moving forward. And so one of my areas is the whole issue of how do we engage the community? When I looked at what happened in Philadelphia with all the police officers and all the comments, and when I looked at some of the killings over the last 2 weeks, this whole issue of what's happening with police in our communities has not gone away. And we need to remind people, if we don't want things to repeat themselves, then we have to get up off our butts and do some things. And this is an opportunity. And I know that, we've had issues with, how this particular body was set up, but I truly believe that the people can make it work and make it be what we need it to be. And so one of the things I look at is how do we motivate our communities to get involved? You know, we shouldn't have subcommittees who are meeting and there's one person there or nobody there. But people have to, part of what needs to happen when I build is trust and build relationships. And many of us know people. And we know people who have been beat down emotionally and physically. And sometimes we just have to reach out. You know, we used to say, if not us, who? You know, we can't expect the mayor to generate people who are going to come in and say, oh yeah, we're going to do this. But some of the people sitting in this room can talk to folks and say, look, I don't want to see you when there's another shooting or a beat down all up in the air. We can prevent some of what we've seen. And I just want to say to the PCCEP, I am glad that you all are doing what you're doing. I know it's hard work. I know it's challenging work. But I also want to say to those of us sitting around the room, if we want this to work, we've got to talk to people. We've got to remind people of this meeting. You know, I put it on my calendar. I'll admit it. I was tired. I was on my way home. And then all of a sudden I said, that meeting. And it's something that if the engagement is going to work, we're going to have to make it work. And I'm here for you. Thank you for calling me out, Lakeisha.
Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Ms. Harris. Yep, go ahead.
I remembered my comment from earlier. Two things. Philip here again. Yes, I'm still Philip. There was one PCCEP member who mentioned Pride Month, LGBTQ individuals, and I'd like to add to that statement. I think it's very important regarding police. We're here for that reason. So Pride was started 50 years ago because the LGBT community has been historically oppressed, arrested, harassed, and two, women or trans individuals of color decided to fight back against police, throwing bricks at officers and then everyone ended up protesting on the street. So I really want to recognize that Pride is not just about celebration and not just about recognizing LGBTQ individuals. It's not about pride in being who you are. I want to really emphasize that Pride was established based on a protest by people exercising their civil rights, and I just wanted to mention the real roots of Pride. It's not just about unicorns and rainbows and all of that. So again, just wanted to throw that out there. And Kimberly, you had mentioned, and I just had something that I wanted to clarify. You said the public needs education on how to appropriately engage with police, and I just want to clarify that comment. And if that was your comment, I think we really need to focus on how the police can be educating the community and how they can be engaging with the community better. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Other comments for PCCEP? Okay, I think we're going to wrap the meeting up early. I mean, I know this committee is full of people who have lives outside of this, and I know the audience does as well, and so I want to respect everybody's time. There's a couple things were out of our control tonight as far as presentations, but I do thank you all for being here. Our next meeting is in July. You can check the website for the date, time, and location of that. I'm glad we got the meeting agenda up this time in advance so that everybody could see that, and we're going to take one more comment, but yeah, please check the website for those things. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, before you go, you mentioned that several of your members met with the Portland Police Association earlier today, and I think that I know I, for one, would like to hear a little bit more about what that was like, especially the PPA is a party to the DOJ lawsuit.
Yeah.
And frequently, when there's something going on at City Council that has to do with the police, they don't come and testify in public. Instead, they do all their talking behind closed doors. So it'd be good for us to hear if you can kind of give some transparency to that meeting. Thank you.
Yeah. So that was attended by myself, Andrew, Jared with the Department of Justice, and several of their members who, beyond Daryl, I apologize, but I'm blanking on their names. If you want to fill in.
And Sam.
Say it again.
And Sam.
Oh, yeah, Sam. Of course, Sam. I'm not going to forget. But I don't know if either of you want to talk a little bit about what the gist of the meeting was or what we discussed. And thank you, Dan, for asking about that. We want to, transparency is huge for us, and so we will make sure to inform you more on those kinds of meetings. Say it again. I don't see any problem with that. I think that would be a good suggestion. I will just say the nature of this was just like an established, we invited him to come and present here, and we do want that, but we wanted just like an initial, hey, kind of get to know each other, because most of us didn't know him. But in future meetings, I don't see any problem with that. If you guys could speak to the meeting, just any points on it, what you took away.
Want to lead?
Well, I already know Daryl, so my name's Sam Sachs. So I know Daryl. I've known Daryl for a while, and he's been very supportive of stuff that I do outside of here. So it was more of a meeting for Lakiana and Andrew to meet Daryl, and I think that's part of the goal of this committee, is to meet all the players and people involved in the community, different organizations. So this was just an opportunity to meet with Daryl and get to know him as a person, as a community member, and as a police officer, and just his views and opinions. He shared some stories about his life growing up, what he went through as a young person, how he came to be a police officer, that his door's open. He wants to see us be successful, that he supports us. There wasn't any policy discussion or any attempt by him to, persuade or move us in any direction. It was just an opportunity for Lakiana and Andrew to meet him and get to know him. I think that's something we want to do with everybody, so we can be as effective as possible and just kind of open that line of communication. So Daryl did say if there are questions about things, that happen or that he says, or issues that take place, that his door's always open. He can email him, we can call him to get clarification. And again, Daryl is just one part of this whole process. The union, the chief, the mayor, but we have a line of communication with the chief. We have a line of communication with the mayor. So this was, that's what I see it, is just an opportunity to open the line of communication with him and the PPA.
And I'll add one thing, and that is that, as I was mentioning earlier, we are trying to have these types of meetings with all sorts of groups. PPA is, an important one.
Bless you.
For a variety of reasons, but there are many other important ones. And I think one of the encouraging things is that every time any one of us engages with one of these organizations, we come out often hearing about folks or people doing work that we didn't even know before, new groups or groups that we were just ignorant of that we also need to engage with. So it's sort of like spreading a social network. To go back to a movie of the last decade, and ideally we get as much inputs to PCCEP from all those entities as we can, because it's not just a one-time thing. We're not just going to them and saying this is who we are. We're holding out our hand and saying we want your help, we need your help. Please continue to engage. And that was certainly true of PPA, so I appreciate them taking the time to speak with us.
And I want to add, too, that I've also reached out to Pastor Haynes and other people in the community to try to do the same thing, to set up meetings with the steering committee. And so just for clarification, so all the steering committee was a meeting for the steering committee, but a few of them couldn't make it. But we've also reached out to, I've had conversations on the phone trying to schedule meetings so that individuals that are new either to the city or to the community or to the process can meet the individuals that have been a part of this process for a long time. I've been here, I've born here, been here my whole life mostly. I know a lot of the people involved and have been involved myself, and so this is just an attempt to, for people that don't know the historical figures and specifically the AMA and the police union, the AMA and the history of how we got here, so that they can meet those individuals and have open a line of communication, because I don't think anyone here has met them, some of the newest members. So that's what we will do moving forward. Bob, do you mind going up to the? Do you mind going up to the mic? Do you mind go up to the mic so we know who you are and we can, everybody, and for people at home that may not be able to see the live stream? Thank you, sir.
I'd be really careful about dealing with the police union. They represent criminal cops and they represent racist cops. If there's an issue with a police officer where it's being disciplined, they will assist. And if they have to, they'll hire lawyers to represent that police officer. The union, time and time again, has showed that they cannot be trusted as far as disciplining officers. They don't discipline officers, they just look for ways of keeping bad ones on the force. So I'd be real careful about that.
Thank you for that feedback. I had a suggestion from Yolanda. I think it's a good one, to close the meeting out by allowing our new project director, Theo, to introduce and say a few words about himself. I'm really excited to have him on board, and he was busy trying to get the food earlier, so.
Theo, can you go up to the mic so that everybody can?
You got 2 minutes.
Hello. Oh, cool. Thank you, Lakian. I appreciate that. And
That's actually Yolanda's suggestion.
Thank you. My name is Theo. It's an honor to be with you all. I thank you for having me. I guess a little bit about me is I'm a tribal member of Cherokee Nation. I'm also Catawba on my dad's side. I have lived in Portland for 11 years. I thank the police officers for being here, and I thank PCCEP for what you're all doing, and I thank the rest of the community. Thank you all for being here. I have a background in data. I think one of my valuable skills that I'm going to be able to bring to this position is collecting and disseminating data in a culturally specific way that focuses on indigenous epistemologies. I think that talking circle could be a good thing to happen. I think that more representation of Portland's the 9th largest urban Indian community in the country. I'd like to see more representation of indigenous values that would be representative of the people here. I'm a father to a son named Sage. He's on the autism spectrum, and he's wonderful and beautiful and brown and all the good things. So I want him to be able to look to police officers as people that he can go to for help and not people that he has to run from. I think that community policing and community-based policing as well as climate change are the two biggest issues of our time. And I'm really honored to be here, and I thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Theo. With that, we will close our June meeting, and we look forward to seeing you all in July. Have a good night.